Welcome to Games Are Us. I have another walkthrough, yet another map, Texas T, and in this particular scenario we're going to have a new element that you're going to have to achieve in order to get the gold victory, and in a moment I'm going to show you what exactly that is. So there we go. For bronze you have to have 50 million company and cash and hold 50 loads of oil. For silver, same as bronze, plus 30 loads of coffee from Mexico to US. And for gold, silver and bronze, and also achieve 15 million in personal worth. So basically your personal income and any bonuses you might be getting from the company for running the company the right way, and also the amount of stocks and shares that you owe. The more the company do good, the more the stocks you buy, the more personal worth you will gain. But in order to work, your company has to be strong and keep splitting its stocks, and that way you collect your personal worth fairly quickly. Now you have to start from normally you start from Dallas, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Connect Dallas down to the Fort Worth because it's the closest one, and then I'm gonna start doing the tracks going south and towards Mexico, because at the end of the day one of the conditions to win this map is to haul 30 cars of coffee back from Mexico to USA, and then on top of that you also have to haul 50 oil cars during this campaign. So now I'm gonna keep making my tracks going south. So now connected with Tyler, and then I'm gonna go keep going south, and then pretty much gonna follow the shore and connect all the sea cities and get that way towards Mexico, and finally start transporting coffee back to USA. And of course this is a bit of a longer process, and like you probably already noticed, I'm using fast mode all the time inside the game, but at the same time this video is in 50% sped up mode, so this campaign goes faster and the video is not so long and taxing for you guys to watch. That's why I'm trying to speed this up for your own benefit. So now I've already done a few of my stations, trying to run a few trains back and forth just to get some profit. And as soon as possible now, like you just saw, I took bonds so I can buy some business, so I'm getting extra money. And at the moment I think that was the lumber mill I just bought. It was fairly cheap, it was just under $1 million. That's why I decided to buy it, because there is a supply. And I'm not sure if that was that or if that was a textile mill. I'm actually literally just skipped that. So in a moment I'm probably going to let you know when I'm back on that screen. But anyway, this is quite important to have your own business fairly quickly, to buy something or build something, simply to have extra profits coming in constantly, so you can do the campaign mission fairly quickly. But like I mentioned earlier, you have to have 15 million of personal worth, and you will not achieve that unless you start buying factories or building factories and start bringing profits in different ways than just trains. Because you're never going to make it. You're never going to have that gold victory if you try. It's simple as that. Luckily for us in this campaign map, the other opposition, the competition in the railway business doesn't really affect us in this campaign map. All you gotta do is just focus on your own goals, and that way you'll get there fairly quick. So at the moment the game is being paused so I can in peace build my new tracks and connect them as soon as possible. Time is of the essence, as always on those campaign maps. So you have to make sure you're doing certain things fairly quick, because if you don't, you run out of time. So I've got another town connected now, so I'm gonna be able to do more profits. The only problem right now is, as you're just seeing this, I don't have enough money, which I haven't realized before I bought this train, before I actually went through all the trouble. So I have to have 100,000, but I've already got the Duke class available. That is fastest train at the moment on the market, and my stocks just now split 2 to 1, which increasing my personal worth, and that's what you have to keep aiming for. And every now and then I'm going to go in and buy some more stocks in order to keep increasing my own money. So now I have a train in place, and therefore I can hope for extra profits. We are already a few years in, but I'm not really worried. There's a lot of time to do this campaign, and once you start bringing profits, building different factories, like I've got the lumber mill. So yes, I was accurate at the beginning. This was a lumber mill that I bought to start with, because I had a supply of logs in this town. That's why I knew the business is going to be successful, and I could keep making money. So, and now I got to the point where I can take a lot of more. I can take a lot of more bonds, which allow me to build extra business again. Another one, and this time that was the meat factory, which also is going to be bringing me profits. And there it is again. My stocks just split 2 to 1 again, increasing my personal worth. Keep remembering that in mind. This is also about your personal money. Just getting there and doing the basics will not get you a gold victory. So now that my company is functioning really well, I'm trying to buy as many factories. I'm trying to upgrade them to get as much profit as possible, and in a moment I'm going to start my campaign and my expansion towards the Mexico, and I'm going to start building more and more tracks, connecting more and more towns down the coast. Next one is Beaumont. So there we are, and I know for a fact that once you connect to Beaumont, you're going to have oil available, and that way I can start exporting and transporting more cars of oil all over the place, all over the country, to all my stations that are connected. And you know how this works. It's like a domino effect. You transport oil from one place to another, and then from that place they will be transferred to another. So all these cars full of oil that you're transferring, they're all going to go to account at the end for your bronze victory, and later on towards your gold victory. And because I'm bringing a lot of money, it will be fairly simple to continue expansion towards Mexico, so we can get coffee being transported to US as soon as possible. And this mission is nice and easy. It's actually not going to take me long to get there. This is fairly quickly done, because this is only on easy level, just to show you, just to guide you through it and give you a few hints what's the best way to do it. And that's why I always go towards Beaumont on this mission, because I know for a fact there's always oil here, and this is a very important town in this campaign. And it has a lot of other things that has around it. It's got a lot of log camps around it, so you can have paper mills, you can have lumber mills, you can have furniture companies and toy company, which is already there. I'm going to buy it out at some point. So there's a lot of possibilities in this town, even though it's a very small town supposedly. It's got 1 star, but actually it's probably the most important town on this map as it happens. So just bear that in mind. And the next town on the agenda is going to be Houston. It's a little bit up north from Beaumont, and I can get there fairly quick. And from Houston, well, it's just gonna get easier and easier, especially with all the upgrades I've done so far, all the extra cash coming in, and I've got better and better trains available now. Now I've got available 8-wheeler 440, which is a bit more expensive. It costs you way more money, but it really is worth it. And I'm starting to buy out the log camps, because I don't want those log camps to suddenly disappear. They do that sometimes. If you don't buy them, they can disappear out of thin air, and suddenly the factories, the business you have will just go, well, it's just gonna go from making massive money to non-existent. That's why I always make sure I buy them, and then I can keep making money off lumber mills, of toy factories, of furniture factories, and keep expanding my my railway empire, if you will. And there's a long way to go from Dallas towards I can't remember now. I think it's Monterrey. Yes, you have to connect to Monterrey in Mexico, and that's a long way from Dallas. So there's a lot of tracks you have to lay, and in order to lay those tracks, you need money. And there is no better money. There is no better way to make money than have your own factories and produce stuff and have a pure profit from it. So now it's time to connect to Houston. Houston is quite an important town as well in this case. We've got a port here. We have a fairly big supply of cotton. So there's a good place to have textile mills, most of all. And it's going to do beautifully exchanging goods between Beaumont and Houston, and they're fairly close to each other. So that's going to help you out immensely. So try to connect the two as soon as possible, and then you're never going to regret that move. And finally, from Houston, we're going to start going sort of a little bit to the north again, but still down the coast towards Mexico, because this whole mission is all about Mexico. Next town is Victoria. That's my next target. So you have a bit of a river there. You're gonna have to build a bit of a bridge, but it shouldn't be much of a hassle at that point. I've got so much money coming in right now that the game is becoming simpler and simpler. Now I'm going to make sure there's even more money supply, buying textile mills in Houston, like I mentioned previously. There's a lot of cotton here. There's all the fields of cotton all around it. There's a massive supply of it, which is literally a pure money. There's no brainer there. You want to do that as soon as possible. As soon as you got money, go for it. You're definitely not going to regret it. And Victoria is connected now. Mexico has expressed the interest in having you expanding our railways towards Mexico, so that's going to make things easier. All I got to do now is just pay 50,000 as far as I know, which I'm going to do in a moment when I get to the border, and you just have to go pay for it and you're ready to expand. So we have another year gone. My personal worth so far is only just above 2 million. So there's still a long way from when it needs to be. But now we have another town being connected, Corpus Christi. And at this point, we're getting really close to Mexico. Monterrey is a little bit further up. So actually, there's a little smaller town, probably closer to start with. And that's where, by the coast, you're going to have actual coffee farms and a bit of a bigger coffee supply. But then Monterrey itself also have a quite good supply of coffee. So I usually end up connecting to the two of them as soon as possible. So once you have all the coffee supply and all your oil supply going back and forth, then you just have to focus on your personal money, personal growth. So next on the agenda we have McAllen. That's what I'm going to aim for. The last town before border with Mexico. And I want to connect this town because I want this town to be connected to Monterrey and to the town south from McAllen as well. so I can have two different towns coming and delivering coffee at the same time. And eventually I'm going to connect a few more towns from USA, so there's a constant supply, so I don't have to wait too long, and you guys don't want to wait too long either, because these first few maps in the campaign, they're more like a warm-up to get you ready what's coming, because some of the maps in the further up down the road is going to get more and more complicated, and you're going to have all different options and all different conditions to do before you can actually win the map. And some of them can be very difficult. There's some maps with Japan in them where it's very difficult. When it comes to a bit more modern approach, it's getting more and more interesting. This is just a warm-up. So I'm ready now to connect my trucks to Monterey. I just paid for the Mexico to allow me to start building, and now I'm basically there. In a moment I'm going to finish off my station, and we're going to start the adventure getting coffee to USA. There is a little bit, there's another small town south from here which I'm also going to build trucks in a minute, as soon as I got the money. So there is a train in place now to McAllen. I always pretty much do a dining car and 8 cars to speed things up. And now we have, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, but Matamoros, I guess. I'm not sure if that's the correct spelling for that town, but I'm going to connect the trucks to it. And again, I'm usually pausing the game when I want to slow it down a little bit so I can build in peace. And I'm trying to build my station as close as possible to the coffee farm, which is at the back on the left, to get as much coffee as possible, as quick as possible. So I have another McAllen flyer. I do like those trains when they beat records, simply because you get extra interest from passengers to get and they're giving you extra bit of profits. But at this stage I've only got 2.8 million in my net worth, but that's only because I haven't been focusing on buying the stocks. And to be fair with you, it's a bit of a mistake at the beginning of the game from my part, because maybe I should have bought a few more stocks, but it's not too late yet. I'm gonna start buying them very soon, because my focus in the moment is gonna be basically towards that goal, because everything else is pretty much in place. As soon as I've got all those trains set up, I can just focus on getting my own personal growth, building and making more factories, more profits. So the chairmen and the board members will keep increasing my wages. They'll keep giving me bonuses, because that's basically how it works. The better you're doing, the more money they give you, of course, like in the real life, I suppose. Mind you, don't quote me on that, because in the real life doesn't always work like that, so sorry about that. I didn't think that through. But anyway, at this point I'm going to try to connect another town in USA, simply because I just wanted to have as much as possible coffee cars traveling back and forth from Mexico to USA, simply to finish this mission as soon as possible. And it won't be long now before I'm going to be focused on making my own money. But like I always say, never forget, keep buying new factories, keep making sure that you upgraded them, and then at some point pay off all your debts, pay off all your bonds, so you don't have to keep losing money because of it, because you have to pay every month certain percentage. So make sure once you have all the money coming easily, just pay them back, and then you have nothing to worry about afterwards. and then you can buy lots of other new stuff simply for your own money without any problems. So at this point I have 9 coffees, a coffee hold from Mexico, and already 68 oil cars transferred. So I've already done the bronze conditions, so you don't have to worry about that. Then I already have 9 cars of coffee transferred from hold from Mexico to USA, and it's just a matter of time before I'm gonna reach the silver conditions. And that's why now I'm going around buying new factories and upgrading whatever I had to make as much money, so my company keeps increasing my wages, so my company keeps increasing my bonuses, and then so I can have my stocks of the company keep splitting, so I can make as much money in personal net worth as much and as quick as possible. And at this point the game is gonna sort of slow down because I'm not gonna be building any new tracks because there is no need for that. At this point is simply no point. All you want to focus is on making money, and even at that point now I've got 4.5 million now in personal net worth, so it's constantly increasing because my stocks are constantly going up. There's probably, like you just saw, I'm going to check every now and then on the stock market what the situation is and how many bonds I owe, and sometimes I'm going to take bonds still. For example, now I bought oil refinery because I don't really have to transfer oil anymore. I can simply use oil refinery to make me more money and to make the company more successful, because as you can imagine, oil refineries bring you a heck of a lot of money, and that can be only good for you in a game like this. This is called Tycoon for a reason, and it's all about making money, and it's all about progress in this game. And at the moment I've got 97 hold oils, coffee 18, and nearly 6 million of the net worth now, personal net worth. So closing in. Unfortunately there's another almost 11 million that you still have to do to get to gold victory. Therefore I'm going back to all my previous town, checking every single town, what else I can buy, what else I can upgrade, so I can make more and more money, and that's how this works basically. And when you have all these companies, you literally find yourself suddenly, so now I'm checking now, my stocks will split again. That's why I decided to buy back some stocks, because when you buy back stock, at the beginning of the game I released some stocks in order to build the tracks, and now I wanted to buy them back, and that increases the value of stocks. They become more rare. You can look at it that way, and because of that they become more valuable. So I'm basically making sure that stocks split again, and there is stock split 2 to 1, and increase my net value to over 8 million now. And I still got, and I only played 12 years out of 30 so far, and I'm very close to finishing this off. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, this is just on easy level, so it's a little bit more difficult when you're playing on the normal level or hard level or whatever level you want to try, because when you go higher it isn't that easy, but it's doable, don't get me wrong. So now we're coming up to slowly to an end. All I'm going to be doing is constantly pumping money, buying factories, upgrading towns as much as I can. There we go. Now I upgrade the furniture factory to increase my profits yet again, buying another paper mill to increase even more value, and upgrading it straight away because I have so much money now that I don't really care. And now, as you just seen, oil found in Beaumont, and that's going to increase my money even further, because that's why I built the oil refinery, because I knew that this will happen. It always happens. The oil will always come here, and not in a moment I'm gonna buy all the oil. I'm gonna buy all the oil wells around Beaumont, simply so they belong to me, and they're gonna bring me profits as well. No, maybe not so much like the oil refinery itself, but they're still gonna bring you some profits, and that way you ensure that they're not gonna suddenly disappear, or someone else was gonna buy them out. Because in this game things like that happen. You have to bear that in mind, that if you have, let's say, a business of something, and let's say there's a, I don't know, for example, a cotton farm, and you have the textile mill, you want to make sure you buy those farms, or you want to make sure you buy the sheep farm and all that, because if you don't, they will disappear, or they might disappear. Not necessarily will, but they might, or there might be 2 or 3 in the area, and suddenly there's only one, and your supply runs out pretty much, and you're losing so much more on the profits, or sometimes you're just above breaking even, and that's never really good. And we basically, in the last maybe 10 minutes of the game before the win, my train's running smoothly all the time. I'm keep changing them into, you can always upgrade them. At this stage, when you have all that money, you can upgrade anything you like, anything you want, and speed up the process. I'm going to pay off my last couple of loans, always trying to make sure that I've got a clean slate, because if I do want to take some loans, I want to make sure that I'm going to have to pay the least amount of percentage on them. So I got now to 10 million in 15 years of my personal worth, and 34 coffee hold from Mexico to USA, and over 130 oil cows already hold, which is pretty good if you ask me. So the basic conditions for bronze and silver have been already met, and all it is now is just making money, buying stocks, splitting your stocks, and doubling up personal worth, making sure you get raised all the time from your board and chairmen, and make sure that you getting bonuses for your profits each year. And the best way of doing that is increasing your profits constantly. And I'm sure you're going to find this fun, building up your own business. After all, that's the whole point in playing a Tycoon game. You want to build stuff, you want to, you know, increase the size of your companies, and you want to do as well as possible. So let's check out. I didn't really gain much on my personal worth this time in this year, simply because my stocks haven't split. So in order to do that, now the economy is back on track. Before, it was a bit of a recession, which also has an impact on your own stocks as well. Usually when there's a recession, the stocks will fall down. When the economy comes back on track or starts booming, that's where the company becomes more efficient, making more money, more production, and therefore you'll be making you're going to be doing much better on the stock market, and your stocks will start splitting again. And now the prosperity is growing economy. So my stocks again are very close to splitting now, and once they split, I'm gonna gain yet again a lot more money in the personal worth, plus your wages every month and every year, and plus your bonuses. So there we go. My stocks just split yet again, and my personal worth now is 14 million, and that's all I have to look into now. So as you can imagine, one more year and this should be done and wrapped up neat and nicely. within I think that was already 18 years, but I'm gonna be about 10 or 11 years before time that they give you to finish it off. And that's how I have to look about it. That's how I have to look at it. This is all sort of business side. That's all about this mission and making sure you get to Mexico as soon as possible. So don't waste your time trying to go east, south, west, whatever. You just keep going down the coast towards Mexico, and make sure you connect those cities as fast as possible. And on the way there, like Houston and Beaumont and all these other cities I just told you about, build your factories and you will have no problem. So there it is, 15 million personal net worth in 18 years, 40 coffees to Mexico, and 181 oil hold to USA. Here it is, golden victory, guys. So thank you very much for watching. I hope it's going to be for you as easy as it was in this video for me. And thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you like the content. Just smash that red button. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one.